The first thing you notice isn't the fear, it's the smell. It's a thick, metallic tang of old blood and fresh sawdust, baked into the sand by a sun that feels far too bright for a man who might be seeing it for the last time. You wake up on a thin straw mat in your cell at the Ludus Magnus, the great training school just a stone's throw from the Colosseum. The stone walls are cool against your back, but the air is already heavy with the humidity of a Roman summer. You don't need a clock to know the time. You can hear the distant, rhythmic thud of the morning crowds gathering outside the amphitheater. It's a sound like a heartbeat or a drum, signaling that the games are about to begin. Today, you are not just a man. You are a commodity. You are entertainment. You are a gladiator. And this is the day you have been training for since the day you were sold, captured, or forced by debt to take the gladiator's oath. You remember that oath every morning: to be burnt, to be bound, to be beaten, and to be killed by the sword. It is a grim contract, one that stripped you of your Roman citizenship, if you ever had it, and turned your body into the property of your lanista. You stand up, your muscles aching from yesterday's final practice session with the wooden rudis. Your body is a map of scars, some from the whip, some from the blade. But today, those scars are your resume. You move to the small basin of water in the corner of your cell and splash your face. The water is tepid and tastes of minerals, but it clears the fog of a restless sleep. You look at your hands. They are calloused and steady. They have to be. The heavy iron bolt of your cell door slides back with a harsh, grating sound. It's time for the Coena Libera, the free banquet. Last night, you sat at a long table with the other men of your familia. To the public, it was a spectacle. Wealthy Romans and curious commoners were allowed to crowd around the tables to watch you eat, gauging your strength, placing bets on whether you would survive the afternoon. You ate the rich meats and drank the wine, but it felt like ash in your mouth. You watched your fellow gladiators, some boasting, some weeping, some staring silently into the distance. You saw the Thrakes you've trained with for 3 years, a man who shared his bread with you when you were a novice, and you realized that by sunset, you might be the one tasked with ending his life. Now, the morning sun is higher, and the ritual of arming begins. This is a slow, methodical process. You don't dress yourself. The slaves of the ludus work with practiced efficiency. First comes the sublegaculum, the heavy linen loincloth, wrapped tight and secured with a wide leather belt studded with bronze. This belt is your anchor. It protects your midsection and holds the weight of your gear. Next, the manica is laced onto your right arm. It's a sleeve of thick quilted linen and leather scales, designed to protect your sword arm from the quick, stinging cuts that can end a fight before it truly begins. You feel the weight of it, the way it restricts your movement just enough to remind you that you are no longer a free-moving man, but a weapon. Then come the ochrii, the metal greaves that protect your shins. They are heavy, polished to a mirror finish, and as they are strapped on, you feel the familiar pinch of the leather laces. You are likely a murmillo today, or perhaps a secutor. You feel the weight of the scutum, the massive rectangular shield, being handed to you. It is made of plywood, leather, and rimmed with iron. It is heavy, nearly 20 pounds, and holding it requires a specific kind of endurance that only years of repetitive drilling can provide. Finally, there is the helmet, the galea. It is a masterpiece of bronze, topped with a towering crest of horsehair or feathers. When it is lowered over your head, the world changes. Your peripheral vision vanishes. You are looking through 2 small, grated eye holes. Your breathing becomes loud, echoing inside the metal chamber of the helmet. The air grows hot and smells of your own sweat and the oil used to polish the bronze. You are no longer a face. You are a mask of war. You are led out of the ludus and into the darkened tunnel that connects the school directly to the underbelly of the Colosseum. The transition from the bright morning light to the shadows of the hypogeum is jarring. This is the heart of the machine. Above you, the wooden floor of the arena, the sand-covered stage, is vibrating. You can hear the muffled roar of 50,000 people. It doesn't sound like human voices anymore. It sounds like a storm, a constant, low-frequency growl that vibrates in your chest. Around you, the hypogeum is a hive of frantic activity. You see the massive wooden elevators, the capstans being turned by dozens of slaves to lift lions, leopards, and bears into the arena for the morning venatio. The smell here is overpowering. The stench of wild animal dung, wood smoke from the torches, and the sharp, acidic scent of human fear. You wait in the staging area. This is the hardest part, the waiting. You see the bodies of the criminals and prisoners who were executed during the midday break being dragged out through the gate of Libitina. They are hooked by the heels and pulled across the dirt, leaving long, dark streaks in the dust. A man dressed as Charon, the ferryman of the dead, follows them, tapping the bodies with a hot iron to ensure they aren't faking. You try not to look. You focus on your breathing, slowing your heart rate, just as you were taught. You check the edge of your gladius, the short sword that is your life insurance. It is heavy, balanced, and terrifyingly sharp. Suddenly, the music changes. The tubas and cornua, the long bronze horns, blast a fanfare that cuts through the roar of the crowd. It is the pompa, the grand procession. You are marched out into the blinding light of the arena floor. The transition is violent. The sun hits your bronze helmet and reflects off the white marble of the seating tiers. The scale of the place is impossible to grasp from the ground. You look up, and all you see are rows upon rows of faces, a vertical wall of humanity reaching toward the blue sky. The heat is immediate. The sand beneath your feet is soft and shifting, making every step an effort. You march to the center of the arena, toward the podium where the editor of the games, perhaps the emperor himself, sits in a shaded box draped in purple. You raise your sword arm, the weight of the shield pulling at your shoulder. You join the chorus of voices, shouting the words that have echoed here for generations. Ave Imperator, morituri te salutant. Hail, Emperor, those who are about to die salute you. It is a moment of profound irony. You are saluting the man who has paid for the privilege of watching you bleed. The procession ends, and you are led back to the sidelines. The preliminary bouts begin. The Lucio. These are mock fights with wooden weapons designed to warm up the crowd. You watch them with a detached eye. You aren't interested in the theatrics. You are looking at the man across the arena who will be your opponent. He is a retiarius, a net man. He is the opposite of you. He wears no helmet, no greaves, and only a light guard on his left shoulder. He carries a weighted net and a three-pronged trident. He is fast, agile, and he has the advantage of sight. You are the heavy tank. He is the skirmisher. You have fought his kind before, but every man is different. You watch the way he shifts his weight, the way he grips the wooden shaft of his trident. You are looking for a tell, a weakness, a sign of nerves. The wooden weapons are cleared away. The arena is raked fresh, covering the blood from the morning's animal hunts. The master of the game signals the start of the main events. Your name is called. The roar of the crowd spikes, a deafening wall of sound that makes the air feel thick. You step out onto the sand. The retiarius is already there, circling. He looks small in the vast expanse of the arena, but you know better. One toss of that net and you are a trapped animal, ready to be poked to death by the trident. The referee, the summa rudis, stands between you with a long staff. He gives the signal. The fight begins. The first few seconds are a dance. You keep your shield high, tucked close to your body, peering through the eye holes of your helmet. You move in a low crouch, keeping your center of gravity stable. The retiarius circles to your left, trying to get behind your shield. He feints with the trident, a quick, stabbing motion meant to draw your shield down. You don't bite. You've been trained to ignore the feints. You wait for the net. That is the moment of greatest danger. He swings the net in a low arc. You see the lead weights sewn into the hem catching the light. You step back, the sand sliding under your sandals. The net misses by inches, hissing through the air. You lunge forward, trying to close the distance. Your gladius is a stabbing weapon, useless at a distance but lethal up close. You need to get inside his reach. But he is faster. He dances away, pulling the net back, resetting his stance. The crowd is screaming now. They want blood. They want the "Habet, hoc habet," the cry that someone has been hit. You can feel the sweat pouring down your forehead, stinging your eyes inside the helmet. You can't wipe it away. You just have to blink through it. The heat inside the bronze casing is becoming unbearable. Your breath is coming in ragged gasps. Every movement feels like you're fighting underwater. He tries again. This time, he throws the net high. It's a distraction. As you lift your shield to catch the net, he lunges low with the trident. You feel a sharp, searing pain in your thigh. The bronze prongs have found a gap below your shield. You grunt, the sound muffled by your helmet, and strike out blindly with your sword. You miss, but the force of your swing forces him back. You look down. Blood is beginning to flow down your leg, staining the sand a dark, wet crimson. The crowd sees it. A collective "ah" rises from the tears. They smell the end. But you aren't finished. The pain is a cold, sharp clarity. It focuses you. You stop chasing him. You let him come to you. You play the role of the wounded bull, waiting for the matador. He grows confident. He thinks you are slowing down. He approaches, his trident held high for a finishing blow. He doesn't bother with the net this time. He thinks he doesn't need it. This is his mistake. As he lunges, you don't step back, you step into the blow. You take the impact of the trident on your shoulder guard, the metal screeching as the prongs slide off. You drop your shield, a risky move, and grab the shaft of his trident with your left hand. For a second, you are locked together. You can see his eyes. They're wide, filled with a sudden, paralyzing terror. He is a young man, younger than you. He has a scar on his chin and a look of desperation that mirrors your own. You don't hesitate. You drive your gladius upward, aiming for the gap under his arm. You feel the resistance of skin and muscle, then the sickeningly smooth slide of the blade entering his chest. He gasps, a wet, choking sound. The trident falls from his hands. You push him away, and he collapses into the sand. The arena goes silent for a heartbeat, then erupts. It is a sound of pure, primal chaos. You stand over him, your chest heaving, your sword dripping. You look up at the editor's box. The retiarius is still alive. He raises his left hand, extending his index finger, the sign of the adlocutio, the plea for mercy. He has fought well, and the crowd knows it. They are divided. Some are shouting, "Mitte!" Release him. Others are screaming, "Jugula!" Throat him. You wait. Your life is in the hands of the crowd, but his life is in yours, guided by the emperor's thumb. You look at the emperor. He is a small figure in the distance, surrounded by marble and silk. He looks at the crowd, gauging their mood. He doesn't care about the man on the sand. He cares about his own popularity. After a long, agonizing moment, he raises his hand. His thumb is turned. It is not the thumbs down of the legends, but a thumb pressed against the index finger, or turned toward his chest, the pollice verso, the signal for death. The crowd roars its approval. You feel a hollow coldness in your stomach. This man was your brother in arms, in a way. You shared the same bread, the same fear. But the law of the arena is absolute. You step forward. The retiarius knows what is coming. He does not struggle. He has been trained for this moment too. He kneels in the sand and offers his neck, grasping your leg to steady himself. It is the final act of a gladiator, to die with dignity, without a cry. You place the point of your gladius at the base of his neck, where it meets the shoulder. You push. It is over in a second. The roar of the crowd is a physical weight. You stand there, alone in the center of the world, while the slaves, dressed as Mercury, come out to check the body. They use a red-hot iron to make sure he is gone, then hook him and drag him away toward the gate of Libitina. You watch the trail he leaves in the sand. That could have been you. In another fight, on another day, it will be you. The referee hands you a palm branch, the symbol of your victory. If you were lucky, or if the fight was truly spectacular, there might be a silver bowl filled with gold coins. You take the palm, but you don't feel like a victor. You feel exhausted. You feel old. You feel like a man who has just bought himself a few more weeks of life. You walk out of the arena through the Porta Sana Vivadia, the gate of life. The transition back into the shadows of the tunnel is even more jarring than the entrance. The adrenaline is beginning to fade, replaced by a bone-deep weariness and the throbbing pain in your leg. You are met by the Lannista's doctors. They don't speak to you with kindness. They speak to you like mechanics working on a piece of machinery. They stitch your wound without anesthesia, the needle biting into your skin. They wash the blood off your armor with vinegar and water. You are led back to your cell. The Ludus is quieter now. The afternoon matches are still going on, and the distant roars continue to filter through the stone walls. You sit on your mat and begin the slow process of unarming. You peel off the blood-soaked leather of the manica. You unstrap the heavy greaves. When you finally take off the helmet, the air feels incredibly cool and sweet on your damp skin. You look at your reflection in the basin of water. You are covered in dust, sweat, and the blood of a man you might have called a friend. You are famous now. Tomorrow, your name will be scratched into the walls of the city. Women will whisper about you. Young boys will play at being you in the streets. But here, in the silence of your cell, you are just a slave who survived. You lay back on the straw. The sun is beginning to set, casting long orange shadows through the high, barred window of your cell. You think about the rudis, the wooden sword given to gladiators who have earned their freedom. It feels 1,000 miles away. You have survived today, but the games never truly end. There is always another fight, another opponent, another day in the sand. As you close your eyes, the sound of the crowd finally begins to fade, replaced by the chirping of crickets in the Roman evening. You drift into a heavy, dreamless sleep, knowing that tomorrow at dawn, the bolt will slide back again, and the cycle will repeat. You are a gladiator. You live for the moment, because for men like you, the future is a luxury you cannot afford. You have conquered the sand for one more day, and in the world of the Colosseum, that is the only victory that matters. The darkness of the cell swallows you, but even in sleep, you can still feel the weight of the sword in your hand and the grit of the arena sand between your teeth. You are alive. And in Rome, for a man in your position, that is the greatest miracle of all. But as the moon rises over the massive stone arches of the Flavian amphitheater, you know the truth. The arena doesn't just take your life, it takes your soul, piece by piece, until there is nothing left but the mask. You are the entertainment. You are the sacrifice. You are the ghost of the Colosseum, waiting for the sun to rise on another day of blood and glory. The night air carries the scent of jasmine from the gardens of the wealthy on the Palatine Hill, a world away from the stench of the Ludus. You breathe it in, a brief reminder of a world that doesn't want you but can't stop watching you. You are a gladiator. Today you fought. Today you killed. Today you lived. And as the city of Rome settles into its restless slumber, you wait for the dawn, and the next time the trumpets call you back to the sand. The silence is finally absolute. The heartbeat of the crowd has stopped. You are alone with your scars and your survival. You have done what was required. You have kept your oath. You have been burnt, bound, beaten, and you have avoided the sword. For now. You pull the thin blanket over your shoulders, the rough wool scratching against your skin, and you surrender to the exhaustion. The arena will be there tomorrow. The sand will be raked, the blood will be covered, and you, if the gods are willing, will be there to see it. This is your life. This is your POV. This is what it means to be a gladiator on fight day. You realize, just before sleep takes you, that the roar of the crowd never truly leaves your ears. It is a permanent haunting, a ghost of sound that will follow you until the day the thumb finally turns against you. But that is not today. Today, you are the one who walked through the gate of life. Today, you are the master of the sand. You close your eyes, and the darkness is finally, mercifully, quiet. The morning will come soon enough. The lanista will walk the halls. The breakfast will be served. The armor will be polished. The cycle of death and spectacle will begin anew. But for these few hours, you are just a man, breathing in the cool night air of Rome, alive in a city that treats your life as a game. You have survived the Colosseum. You have survived the heat, the fear, and the steel. You have looked death in the eye and refused to blink. As you drift off, you realize that despite the chains and the scars, in the moment of the fight, you were the most powerful man in the world. Everyone was looking at you. Everyone was holding their breath for you. And for a man who owns nothing, that feeling of absolute, terrifying importance is the most addictive drug of all. You sleep. The arena waits. The sand is hungry. But for tonight, you are at peace. The day is done. The fight is over. You have survived. And in the world of the gladiator, that is the only ending that counts. You are a survivor of the greatest stage in history, and your story is written in the dust and blood of the arena floor. A story that will be told for 1,000 years after you are gone. But you don't care about history. You only care about the next breath, and the next, and the next. You are a gladiator, and you are still here.
If you liked this video, please hit the like and subscribe button for more.